Hello, welcome to Tuesday training. Getting all the buttons clicked, getting all the peeps in. It's very exciting. Tuesdays at noon Eastern is one of my favorite times of the week to start talking shop with some beautiful practitioners. So nice to have everybody here. Welcome to Tuesday training. Anna, Valerie, Gary, and Lori are also coming in. And I think I got everybody in the house already. Okay, perfect. Welcome. Hey, Laura. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're all here. I love talking shop with you guys. It's one of those like breaks in the day that I look forward to. Hey, Gary, good to see you.
Hey, Gary. Hey,
Sometimes
Anna. Hey, Val. I know. I feel like I haven't seen everybody in forever. Okay.
It's been a minute. It's good. It's good. I'm glad we're all here. Yeah, sometimes breaks in the day are like a little bit, I feel like, can feel like an interruption, like especially if you're in the flow of something. Tuesday training never feels like that for me. It's always like, oh, good, I get to talk shop with some people and partner up with them on some beautiful ideas. So I'm so glad that you guys are here. It's nice to see you all. For those of you watching on the replay, we're glad you're here too. Make sure you let us know that you're here. I don't know, click the like button, leave a comment, leave a wavy hand emoji, something like that. I know there's definitely some people who watch on the replay every week that I'm not even clear on who, but I know that some folks asked, where's the replay? And I'm like, oh, okay, they're watching. That's so good. I'm so glad. And if you're here for the very first time, welcome to the party. We love having you, whether you're here live or on the replay. We meet every week, bunch of adventurous, courageous, talented practitioners to talk shop, anatomy, functional anatomy, client work, professional development, case studies, whatever it is that's coming up for everybody. I usually come with some ideas of what I want to talk about. I want to talk about all of it with you guys all the time, though. Like, I feel like if I've said this before, if I could get an island and just ship you all to the island for like, I don't know, 3 or 6 months, maybe it'll be Italy. I mean, Anna does have me focused on Italy at the moment more than I usually am, which is already a lot. But anyway, I'd love to just like take us all and like have food, like really healthy food shipped in so we could all be nourished and well fed and practice on each other and talk shop and get really motivated and then go out into the world and then do our thing and then come back to the same island. That's why I want to own the island. But anyway, not this year that I know of, but when that happens, you guys will be the first to get the invite. So welcome to the party. If you're here for the first time, we meet every week to talk shop. Today's Practitioner Tuesday training is sponsored by our upcoming annual summit. So we have a summit each year, and Lori's got the swag, some of the swag anyway. I like when we hit the mark on the swag. I do. I like when we hit the mark on the swag because I love a good swag. So every spring we have our annual Practitioner Summit. This year it's May 7th, 8th, and 9th. 11:30 to 2:30 Eastern. I know that is working hours, billable time. I totally get it. Sign up anyway because you'll get the replays for 24 hours. And we've got some really great panelists this year. Oh, thanks, Lori. Always, always at my back, always supporting me. I love you. Thank you for that. And supporting everyone else too. Totally different lineup each year. The lineup this year is pretty spectacular. And we are in Mercury retrograde, so it's been kind of fun putting all the tech together while the planets are like, you don't get to do that. Ha 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 ha. Who do you think you are? So if you happen to notice anything on the site, just be gentle with me, but definitely bring it back to me so that we can correct whatever that is. If there happens to be any, I think we're doing okay. But it's been fun and bumpy getting us there. That said, Mercury will not be retrograde during the summit, so I expect us to have a smooth, lovely time as always. And I would love to see you guys there because it's just really a fun time of year for all of us. So with that said, here we are into the content for today. Our mastery practitioners have been talking about partnering. And our level 2 practitioners have been talking about what that requires to get us to the next level. So I thought, why not bring our partnering conversation, which has traversed now level 1 and level 2, and we talk about it all the time. Why not bring that into our beautiful Tuesday training window and expand a little bit? Because as I said earlier, I feel like I could talk to you guys forever. So if you think you've heard everything I have to say on this topic, that's so cute because I have so much more to say. So why not just bring it all in? Hey, Rhonda, it's great to have you. why not just bring it all in? Once we land on a topic, I tend to like it blooms for me. Does that happen for you guys too? You hear a topic and then the next day something comes up and then the next day it sort of blooms again. Yeah, it happens for me too, even if it's a topic I'm already privy to. So that's what came up for me this week for partnering. And I'd love to talk to you guys about what that exactly means inside our community. I'd love to hear from you what that means to you if we haven't had this conversation together yet. And there's 4 main takeaways I want us to highlight today on this topic before we break, if I can get it all in. And I'll be very succinct. So let's see. We just had another guest come in. Rhonda, I did say hello to you. Yeah, I hope. Kathy, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Feel free to come off camera if that is available to you. And also, if not, you can always come off mute and join us audio. Join us in like the sound from the sky, sound from heaven. You can do that as well. So welcome. Okay, so I'd love to hear from you all first. What comes up for you? And I know some of you, like I said, have already had this conversation with me recently, but where are you now with this conversation on partnering? And if we've never had this conversation before, I'd love to hear what that means to you. Where are you on the conversation on partnering? And we're talking, of course, as practitioners. So what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Anybody?
Yeah, I'll get us rolling. So what's been coming for me very present and very present lately is partnering with my client. Yeah, because I've been really digging into SOAP notes and the subjective and making sure that I think has everybody been here? Yeah, everybody's been here when we went through a case study and we're like, oh, forgot a couple things. So I'm really digging into that lately. And then also like what partnering means with the client in front of me. And usually it means homework, right? Is partnering with them throughout the entire treatment, not just like I'm this person and I'm doing this for you and you're doing that part. It's like the 3 people in the room that you talk about, Gina, myself, my client, and their body. And that's where I've been leaning in exploring partnering.
I love it. So good. Yep, that's one of our 4 bullet points for today. So thanks for getting us started, Lori. That's awesome. Anybody else? Who else has something to share about what partnering means to you? Anybody?
I'll jump in. So in our mastery training, when this section came up, it really brought up, I don't know what, fear, I'm going to say. Because the partnering, with the body in front of you, that's intuitive. It makes all the sense in the world. But then I had to start thinking of, okay, who's out in my community, that I can partner with, whether it's a PT or, whether it's other body workers that I'm aware of or that I have even gone to, as a patient, quote unquote. And that, that was, okay, that makes sense, right? Because then I can offer, there are things that I may not be able to help the client with. And then that really shows a lot of care on my part if I can paint a bigger picture of wellness for them. But it brought up, it's still bringing up, a lot of, holy shit, those people are all licensed at this or they're doing that. And, I've just started this journey, that all that sort of, am I good enough, to have, and, the answer is, if you keep in mind the wellness of the client, the wellness of the person in front of you, and if you really are your vision that you want to help people get out of pain, then you must do all the things that are required to get those people to a better state of health. It's
Mhm.
not about me, it's about them.
Mm. Anna, interesting. Your inadequacy keeps coming with you. You keep bringing it. But thank you for sharing it with us. Maybe today's conversation will put a pin in that a little bit. And your share actually covers 3 of the 4 bullet points for today. So they sort of imploded on themselves and maybe blossomed, I don't know, and grew extremities. But it's interesting how partnering with others, in your share, it dominoed. And I'm realizing I'm speaking to you now like we're in group training in mastery. So I'm going to just pause right there and I'll come back and fill in some of the thoughts that I have for you. And your share in group training is part of why this kept unfolding for me. So I'm really glad that you're here and we can just continue to let it blossom together. And like I said, hopefully get you to a place where the fear is not there anymore. That would be great if we created that today. Anybody else have anything to share on partnering? What comes up for you? What it means to you? How you do it? If you do it, you don't know what it is yet. You can't wait to hear what we have to say. Anything on partnering? Anything else? Okay, well, let me share with you guys what I think the 4 bullet points for today that I want us to cover on partnering, or that I would like to cover today on partnering. The first is, yes, other modalities, right? So we get to be super excellent at what we do. We get to be so talented, so skilled. We get to have such a great track record that we know what we can cover. We know what we can create for someone, and we know when it's time that it's not our lane. Like, we get to know that, right? Part of being really excellent at what you do is knowing what you're capable of. Part of being excellent at what you do is not thinking about how inadequate you are. So if that's coming, notice that you get to flip that equation. And we have our confidence formula, which is a competence equation, knowledge and skill, deeply skilled, deeply knowledge-based, deeply practiced in the knowledge that we have over and over and over and over again. So we get to be really good at what we do, and we get to know, this is what I can cover. This is what I know I'm good at. This is what I know I can create. This is within my bounds of expertise, which is a bit expanded from this is within my scope of license, right? Like you could have a scope of license and not be talented at it, right? I don't think that applies to any of us, but I know we've all experienced that. Like, how many of you have had a haircut you didn't love? Right? Like, hello, right? And part of that's art. So I'm by no means putting any stylist or hairdresser or cosmetologist under the bus at all, because there is definitely artwork that goes, into that craft for sure. My point is, you can be licensed and credentialed and still need more skill, right? Just because you have the knowledge to earn the license doesn't mean you've yet been able to create the skill and the results and the finesse that goes with that. So yes, we get to have the licensure, but we also get to be really good at what we do inside that license. For example, most of you know one of my licenses is massage therapy. Great. I create a great full body massage. I know I do. It's way above average. Totally great. It's not where I really vibe, right? I don't love to do that all day long because I really like to use my mind and I really like to problem solve. And that energy of wanting to problem solve and be really active is not the same energy of a full body massage that is for relaxation purposes and parasympathetic responses and things like that. So I'm not saying I drive them like a beast when they're in with me and not getting a massage. I still recognize there's a parasympathetic energy in the space, but it's better for both of us, myself and the person I'm serving, if I do my method, because that's what I'm really good at. Hello, right? Like, of course, I would hope if I developed it, I would hope that I would be really excellent at it. So we get to be really good at what we do, and we also get to know where our parameters are beyond just whether our license says we can. Do I still offer massage? Sure. Do I still think I'm above average? Yeah, of course. But it's not what I would advertise, for example, because I want to focus on what I know I'm really good at. That's what I mean by you get to know what you're really good at within the scope of your practice. That said, none of us here live that I know of are also acupuncturists, right? Am I right on that? That none of you here are an acupuncturist, right? So if I know that somebody needs acupuncture, doesn't matter how good I am at body work. I'm zero good at acupuncture. I'm not trained to do it. It's not my jam, right? So we get to know exactly what we're good at, and we get to know that we're good at it, right? And whatever that takes for you to be good at it. And then know when to refer out. Now that also requires another branch of knowing. In order for me to know to refer out, I get to know what those other modalities do. I get to know exactly what acupuncture does. Like, what is that modality exactly? It's not dry needling. I get to know the difference between them, because someone who's not an anatomist, AKA our clients and people that we serve, they know less than we do in some cases. And they're the ones that are in pain. They deserve to have clarity and be directed in the right place, right? How many of you have ever been in the medical system? I don't want to call it a healthcare system because you got to be unwell to play. But how many of you have been in the medical system where you got to hop from practitioner to practitioner to practitioner, and it felt a little bit like your time was being wasted, you weren't really getting any answers until you got to the person, right? Me too. So, and definitely our clients, when they've been in pain for a while, the first place they go is their doctor, who's not skilled at treating musculoskeletal pain because it's not life-threatening. It's not because doctors aren't valuable. It's because Western doctors are trained to avert death. That's it. So backache's not in that category. So it's not a dig to them, but most of us will go to our doctor when something feels serious and severe. And so then we'll hop a little bit. So what we want to do as experts in our industry is prevent some of that hopping, right? Save folks time, save them energy, save them money, even if it means I'm not your girl, but I know who is. And in order to be able to confidently say that, just like you get to confidently say what you're good at, you got to know what those other modalities are. Like, you get to know that Western doctors aren't trained in back pain, so that you can be calm about it and also not call them if you throw your back out, right? It's just not in their wheelhouse. They'll try. They'll definitely try. They'll give you a prescription to try to quell the pain. We know as body workers that's not the solution, but at least they're trying. And also, why go to them, right? It would be like coming to me for cardiovascular care. Super not in my zone. I can tell you what I've read, but just not even near what I do. I can't ever be good at that. So we get to know what those other modalities are, especially outside of traditional Western medicine. Because once folks get to us, they're not in the Western medicine bubble, typically, with the exception of physical therapy, right? Because that is Western medicine's best chance at offering body work. And then we also get to know what's the difference between physical therapy and what we do. And Anna, this is part of what you shared as well, right? There's a huge distinction. So rather than feeling, in someone else's shadow, what if we just knew enough to know the distinction and recognized us, right? I have brown eyes. You might not. That doesn't mean my eyes are less than. Just don't have your color eyes, and vice versa. So we get to know what other modalities offer, get really succinct at that, and be really clear at what you offer. So first it starts with, again, I said, your confidence in knowing what you can create, then a knowledge of what the other modalities are, and the wisdom to know when to refer out. It sounds like the AA pledge, but I mean, like, sincerely, like, start with you, then branch out, and then know when to refer out. How do you know when to refer out, by the way? When do you all think that it's a time for you to refer out? What up until now has led you to want to refer out to someone, to another practitioner, another modality? Anybody? Go ahead, Gary. Oh, Val, go ahead.
Like, I don't do oncology lymphatic work. I do basic lymphatic if I have people who have legs that are swollen.
Yeah.
It's beyond what I want to spend my time with, that I have time in my life for day for, as well as for their benefit. I feel they need more specialized care than I can give them.
Yeah. Say more about that. Why is oncology lymphatic work different than non-oncology lymphatic work? As a perfect example of what we're talking
It's the
about.
rerouting, and they usually need more sessions closer together than they
Mhm.
might be able to get in with me with the way the office scheduling goes. So
Yeah.
it would be to their benefit to go over to the oncology people who, and I have friends that do more of that work, and
Mhm.
I'm more than happy to pass that on. It's just not something I've had a light training in it, but it's not my focus. So it's in their best interest, and I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yep.
so it's just there are people who are a little better at some of those things, and they have more time and
Right.
resources.
Right. Yep. Exactly what we've been saying, right? If someone else is a little better at it, then they get to do the best work. Instead of you giving someone C+ work, they get to have A+ work. Doesn't mean you're less than. It just means you're A+ at something else. And
No.
also, when we know about specific modalities, oncology work is specific for a reason. You could spread the cancer cells, which is
Yes.
a different level of training than
Yeah.
just regular massage or regular lymph
Or
work.
even,
Mhm.
or they get backed up, because if you don't do it right, then they could go into a whole lymphedema crisis with, say, in an arm if they've had
Yeah,
nodes removed.
that's
Right.
the danger of that.
So
I'm double certified in that area, and
Mm.
so
yeah,
it's
and
not
it's
like
just not.
Hold
yeah.
on.
If you do the wrong stuff, the chances of you causing more damage than just working on somebody with a backache in the wrong way is,
Mhm.
the consequences are much greater. So,
Right.
yeah, definitely.
And we could say that about a lot of the sections, I'll say, in the work that we all do, right? It's like you could do damage with someone if you're working with too much velocity,
Mhm.
edging into chiropractic adjustments when you're not a chiropractor, right?
Right.
And so the point in all of this, thank you all for sharing. The point in all of this is we get to know what different modalities offer. Like, what is the benefit of that modality to a person's body or condition? We get to know that just like as educated practitioners. And then we get to know who that person is in our community that does that, because it's probably not you. Like, I don't do acupuncture, I don't do chiropractic, but I know exactly what those modalities offer, right? And then you get to address with the person that you're serving if that is the best modality for them. Especially when you do become this knowledge bank and this trusted resource for your people, they'll come to you for everything, right? Like, I get calls on the craziest stuff and I'm delighted and tickled, and I'm honest with them. I really don't know. But if I did want to know, this is who I would call to find out. Or I say, I do know, and I asked you, I spoke to you about acupuncture because of the energy needs in your body, but the person that you went to isn't an acupuncturist. Yes, they use needles, but that was dry needling. Doesn't do the same thing. They don't even poke the same spots, right? The person getting needled doesn't know that, though. So I get to be clear with them about the distinctions between other modalities. And so that's part of partnering. That's a huge part of partnering. We could spend the rest of our time together just talking about that right there. And I love that you are all thoughtful about it. We get to be really excellent at our own craft and know exactly what we can offer someone, and not need to be someone we're not. I don't need to be an acupuncturist or a chiropractor right now. I love them. I'm so glad they're here on the planet. And I am not less than because I'm not. I'm not. I'm excellent at my craft. And I want them to be excellent at theirs too. And also not try to do what I do if they're not trained in it. Right. So we get to know that and be super confident in our spot on the block. If we're talking about a wellness block in our community, this is where my shingle is hung, and this is what I do, and that's where that shingle is hung, and that's what they do. And I get to be the person who explains the differences and the distinctions to the people I serve. It's a huge value to me, and it always has been. When I had an integrated wellness clinic, we had integrated, lots of modalities. I think we had probably 12 different modalities under the same roof. And I made it mandatory that everybody that was a provider in the clinic meet regularly with each of the other providers. Find time in your schedule to get a session from each other. Ask each other as if you are the next client, and pitch to your companion, your contemporary, as if they were potentially your next client. Use your languaging and your messaging to be able to explain what you do, and use your curiosity and your investigative skills to ask what they do. I made it mandatory. And the reason I made it mandatory isn't just because it was my clinic and I could say so. It's because they all got smarter. And then what ends up happening is the client comes in the door and they know exactly who to go to under that same roof. So talk about not referring them out and avoiding the bounce, right? If someone came to me because they knew, like, and trust me, but I knew that there was another modality that was better for them down the hall, I would talk to them about that and send them down the hall. Because to your point, Anna, we want them to get out of pain. If we're really service providers with open, generous hearts, with the intention of getting folks out of pain, we will refer them out if we're not the one for them. I don't want them to have a C+ service. I want them to have an A+ service. And if it's not my modality, they get to have an A+ service. So we could go on about that, but that's the point of knowing other modalities and being in service to the client that you're serving. Okay, point number 2, we're going to just keep it moving. I'm very aware well of the time right now, and I'm like, oh no, see, this is why I need us to go captive on an island somewhere, because I need about 3 more months to have this conversation, but I'll do it. I'll be succinct. Okay, so Lori brought us to partnering with your client and partnering with their body. And I say all the time inside our mastery track that there's 3 of you in the room when you're doing a one-on-one session with another person. There's you, there's them, and there's their body. And we do, I would say, some pretty exploratory training on what that exactly means and the distinctions between the 3 of you. So we're not going to do that training today, but the point is that you do get to walk in to a session as an authority, knowing what you can offer, right? We just talked about that. I know what I'm good at. I know the results that I get. And I know when I'm hearing from someone with my trained listening skills, whether or not this is a good fit and what I can create for them. Absolutely, you get to go in knowing that. And you're not the only one in the room. So we get to ask our clients, what's their goal? What did they want out of the session? Which doesn't mean they get to talk you out of, like you said, Lori, doing homework. You get to be the authority and know what's needed to create that goal for them without them telling you how to run your session. It's sort of prevalent in the massage therapy industry where, and I'm not picking on massage therapists. So, I mean, look, I'm both manual and movement practitioners. I just talk to a lot of you, so I know, like, which pockets tend to say what things, like, as a constant or as something really common. And for some reason, massage therapists seem to have this conversation about, I want to do good for this person. They're here for the hour, and I need to make sure that I earn the money for this hour and that I can schedule them again to earn more money for the next time they come. And I appreciate that. And I understand that really all of us, manual and movement practitioners, are working during daylight hours. There is a ceiling cap. I'm very well aware of that. There's only so many hours in the day you can serve and get paid for. So I get the need to keep a full schedule for sure. However, when we're in the mode of backtracking in what we know is needed to create a result because we want the client to have what they want so we can, quote, get, that's the key word, the money and get them to come back, that's a scarcity mindset. That is not coming in as an authority. That's letting them run the session for you. And the irony there is that they might not get the results that you know you can create if they run the session, which is literally what you're trying to prevent by trying to be liked and let them tell you what to do, right? And I share this this memory of mine from in mastery often from when I think I was 21 maybe, so 3 years ago. It's been a minute, and I remember being in a doctor's office. He was a podiatrist. And I remember the plaque on the wall said, the success of your care today depends on which one of us is the patient and which one of us is the doctor. And I thought, wow, what an arrogant guy this guy is, right? And it really landed with me. But what I did with that decades later was realize, oh yeah, like he does know something I don't know. I'm not a podiatrist. For me to tell him this is what I'll do or this is what I won't do makes me the arrogant one, right? And that brought up this whole idea about partnering with the person you're serving. Both get to weigh in. You absolutely get to hear from your client about what they think and what they want. And you absolutely get to come in as an authority about whether you can create that and how it will get created. It's both of you. The client gets to show up and speak, and you get to show up and be the authority, not acquiesce because you want to get the money, because that's actually not being in service. So we get to partner with them. And partnering with them also could mean that when their stated goal is clear and you're not their person, that you encourage them to go somewhere else, which is back to the bullet point number 1, right? So you get to just partner with them on what are we creating today? It goes full circle the other way too. You get to find out what they want in that day, in that hour session with you, or however long your sessions are, so that you don't overgive, right? Massage therapists are also notorious for burnout, right? The average lifespan of a massage therapist's career is 4 to 6 years. That's not very long, because people live longer than that and they need you. So you got to find a way to not burn out and be a puddle at the end of the day. And it is physical labor doing massage therapy all day. It's physical labor being a bodywork therapist all day too. So you get to figure out, how do you create results and what does that mean for you, for them, and not overgive something that they didn't ask for because you're trying to get them to come back, right? Sometimes you don't need to hang the moon. Sometimes they really need something very different. If you partner with them and let them speak up, you'll find out that, wow, I was way overgiving, right? I'm that person. I'll stay still to this day. I'll stay focused on the goal. But if the session's 90 minutes, it never ends at 90 minutes. I always run over, to the point where I will run over into my bathroom break and into my lunch break. And that means that my cup is empty at the end of the day. That's not good. Like, I still get to call myself out on that. And this isn't even like full body massage. This is just, one more run through homework, one more question, one more explaining something, right? To make sure that they're super empowered when they leave. And that might seem generous at the outset. And I used to tell myself it was me being generous. It's not. It's not being generous if I have an empty cup at the end of the day, because how can I serve the next day? It's actually the opposite of generous, right? So we get to partner with our clients, their goals, their objectives, and our authority and what we know we can provide. And there's 3 of you in the room. Okay. That was pretty quick, actually. And I just want to say hi. There's a few more people that just came in. I want to make sure I acknowledge you guys. Len and Thea, so great to have you here. Please feel free to come on camera or off mute if you want to join in the conversation. Okay, bullet point number 3. We get to partner with, how many of you, and I know it's all of you because you're here, so it's sort of like a trick question, but I know the answer already. How many of you know that you want to learn more? Yeah, me too, right? I listen every day to somebody new tell me something that I might not have heard before. Same with the year-long, oh my goodness, no, the annual summit, right? I speak with every provider that's coming in and they tell me something new, because I want to create a really awesome panel for you guys to learn something new. It's got to be something I haven't said or haven't said in that way or don't do, right? Another way of approaching the body. So I'm constantly learning, right? And it's not just annually. I'm just using that as an example. So we all who are committed to being excellent providers know that we get to learn forever, because we chose the body as our muse. You've heard me say this before. Nobody knows everything about the body, but you get to know what you know and you get to be really good at it. And you still get to keep learning even once you're good, right? So yeah, great. I have a method. Awesome. You'd think I didn't need to know anything more. That's not true, because every person that comes to me for care has a new version of the injury, right? I got to be on my toes. I got to be sharp. Staying away from training and knowledge means that I get rusty, right? Because we're back to the competence equation. It's knowledge and skill that gives you confidence to do what you do. It's not just, I knew it at one time, but now all I do is skill. No, because now all you're doing is old skill. You gotta stay in the game, right? You gotta learn more. And I know you all know that because you're here. I'm just bringing it to light with language. So one of the things that some of you may have heard me say this, one of the things that I used to do was I was ferocious about my training. I mean, I had so many CE certificates, so much training, everything that came by, I wanted some of that. And I loved that about me at the time. Luckily, I have calmed that insatiable appetite and I'm a little more focused. And here's how I got focused. I knew what I wanted to do during the day, and I knew the results that I wanted to generate during the day. It's kind of back to what we talked about with bullet point 1, knowing what you know and knowing it really well and loving what you do and not trying to be someone else. Once I got really clear on the work that I wanted to do and the results I wanted to create, then I could streamline my training efforts towards what would serve that. And I no longer needed to be something I wasn't. I no longer needed to go back for more lymphatic training. I dipped my toe in it. I understand that modality. It's not what I want to do all day long. And I'm so grateful that there's others of you who do, so I can refer to you, right? So I got to really streamline what I wanted to do and what I wanted to create. And the way to accelerate that goodness in you and skill in you is, my motto is to find someone whose day, their average day, is my wish or my dream, and then latch onto them. Because if what I want is what they've already got, great, they've probably got a shortcut for me, right? So you get to partner with whoever has what you want. Find a way to put yourself in front of them, right? If I had a mentor who knew exactly what I needed next and had already created that for me and offered me a red carpet access to them, I would camp out in their driveway. I would buy an RV and I would never leave if they offered that to me, right? So find who that person is and then find how you get access to them and stay there, right? Don't let your insecurities about what you don't know take you out of what you want. The point is, they know something you don't know and you want to know more. So let your confidence take you into that direction instead of your intimidation keep you back, right? Like, what game are you playing? Do you want to win the game or do you want to win your insecurity game? Win the game and just lean into a mentor who's got what you want, because there's more of you that are needed. Whoever your mentor is isn't the only person who gets to be in service. There's not enough service providers to serve all the people who need us. So there's no competition there. There's collaboration there. It's partnering in the best way. You tell your mentor what you're up to and what's on your heart and your commitment to that. I bet you, if they are already at the level that you want to be at, they will welcome you with open arms and they will take you there, probably faster than you thought you could run, but you'll get there, right? So the way to accelerate your growth and get you towards what you want is to partner with someone whose average day is your goal or dream. Find out who that person is and go there. Don't wait. Because if you're waiting, you're holding yourself back because everybody else is going, right? So you end up getting stagnant if you're not going. It's just the way the universe works. We're evolutionary. We're always in motion into transformation. Doesn't mean you can't take a breather. I take vacations. I sleep at night, like I'm a normal human too, but I'm also on a mission. Like, my vision and what I want is very clear and I'm headed in that direction every day, or I'm missing that direction every day. If the boat takes out from the dock every morning when I wake up and I'm not on it, I miss the boat, right? Doesn't mean that it doesn't dock again at night and I go to sleep, put my feet up, have dinner with friends and, and go on with my life. But if the boat takes off from the dock every day of your life, and it does, and you're not on the boat, you miss the boat. So find out where you're going and then partner there. Even if it means, and here's bullet point number 4, even if it means partnering with accountability, right? So you get to also partner with your community. So beyond modalities outside of the scope that you do. There's modalities within the scope that you do. Hello, you're all here. Like, we've all shared what we do at times, and we know that there's an overlap, if not an exact replica, but just in different parts of the world. So you get to partner with your community and find out who it is that's got your back, who's headed in the same direction as you. Right? Somebody who's also committed, someone who will hold you accountable, someone who will call you forward when they got on the boat this morning and you weren't on it. Hey, where are you at? We're on the boat. We took off from the dock. You said you wanted to be on the boat today. Where are you? Right? You get to partner with other people because we're not meant to be in siloed places. And I'll use our physiology as proof of that. There is no organ in your body that works by itself. Not one. We are designed to be interdependent, not codependent, not dependent, but interdependent. It's in our physiology. Literally, the muse that we're studying and serving is telling us we get to be connected with somebody else. We do. We just get to be connected with somebody else. And we know from psychology that community learning fosters expansion and growth. When you learn in community, you grow and expand at a faster rate than you ever could by yourself. We have psychology around that. It's one of the reasons why all of the courses in our academy, while they're pre-recorded and available on demand at any time, they're recorded as if they were a group like this, so that you can be in community and have the sense of being in community. Even though you're looking at a screen, you can hear other people ask questions. You can think about their questions and contemplate the answers and learn in a community environment. There's some folks that say, oh, no, you know, I don't like videos like that. You know, the lighting isn't great, or there was a glitch in the internet at the moment or whatever. And all that is perfectionist overproducing. It doesn't actually serve learning. Community is what fosters learning. It always has. We know we have science that tells us that. So this also speaks to the way we work, right? And not only are we designed in our physiology this way, but the way we work is actually counter to this community aspect, right? So God bless you. God bless you. So if you're a one-on-one provider, God bless you, Anna. I thought it was just going to be one, and then I didn't want to say no to the second one, and then it drew all the attention, and I'm sorry. I thought I would get it in there. Okay. How many of you see clients one-on-one? Raise of hands. One-on-one. Yeah. How many of you see clients one-on-one all day? Like, that's your way of working. Clients one-on-one instead of group versus like group training. Like, your way of working is you see one client at a time. Okay. I was probably a practitioner for, let's see, where was I living at that time? I was probably a practitioner for maybe 3 years at the most, when I was already like feeling like I was in a desert outside of the time with my clients, because that one-on-one time was me in service to them, which is exactly what I want to be when I grow up. And there was nobody else there. There was nobody to run ideas off of. There was nobody to ask questions of. There was no one to double check if I was like not quite sure if I did the treatment right. There was nobody. It was me and me, right? And that siloed private practice is so amazing for those of us who are independent and want to run our own schedule and do our own thing. And it is not supportive of the way you expand as a practitioner, because you're siloed. You're not interdependent. It's one of the reasons I ultimately ended up opening a clinic, because I did want to be interdependent with other providers for sure. And they didn't necessarily have to do what I did. But I wanted that community aspect of expanding as I was working, so my cup could keep being full while I was serving people. I can't stress that to you enough. Even if you work in a clinic, if you're working one-on-one with your clients, you're closing the door and it's just you and the client, which is amazing. And unless you're actually mingling with the other providers under the same roof, they're just in the space with you. You're not in partnership with them. So I really recommend that you find community, people who are you, like-minded, doing the same thing, succeeding in the same places, struggling in the same places, who are willing to hold you accountable and partner with them. One of the things that we do in Mastery is we have a buddy system for that reason. Like, just out of the gate, you start with a buddy. So there's at least one other person that's got your back during the training. And then it, of course, turns in that, you know, the whole pad's sort of everybody's buddy. But at the beginning, when I ran Mastery in you know, the same and similar format, I didn't make buddies mandatory. And there were several of us who were used to working one-on-one who would just show up for group training and then disappear in the rest of the week and like never connect again during the week. It was a siloed way of being, and their results, their knowledge was always more stressful for them to acquire than those who buddied up and partnered up and met offline and were in community. And so I'm watching this as the lead trainer, and I'm like, oh, wow, look at all that. My value system on partnering and our psychology knowledge about community fosters expansion and growth. And there it is. There's our results right there. So we have mandatory buddies just out of the gate because we want to create a community that fosters growth and expansion. It's also one of the reasons why we have an advocacy team. So anyone who does decide to go it alone, and that's beautiful, and, you know, sign up for extra training inside of our academy, they still get paired up with a live human. You don't just get a training in your inbox and good luck, because we know it doesn't work, right? And you guys have heard me probably say this before too. When I was learning how to teach online, studies still say that more than 80% of online courses are not completed. And it's because there's the absence of that community. It's literally you in a vortex by yourself. So again, we always partner up, and that's one of the reasons why our community looks the way it does. So, and this is still true even if you're listening and you're a group movement person, it's still you in the front of the room being in service to a group of people who leave at the end of the class. And then who do you compare notes with? Who do you troubleshoot with? Who do you brainstorm with? Right? So community for the win. You get to partner with your peers. You get to partner with your peers. Okay. And so I did it in less than an hour. I'm so excited. So our conversation today on partnering, just to recap. Well, how about you guys recap? What were the four bullet points? Did you get them? What's your recap on the partnering bullet points? Anybody get them?
I think so.
Yeah? What'd you get, Val?
Oh, I am on. Okay.
Yeah.
Partnering with others, modalities to share and cooperate with.
Yep.
Partnering with our client with us, their bodies and their goals. Number 3, partnering for further learning. It's kind of melding here. Has to do with keeping ourselves growing.
Yeah.
Maybe the partnering maybe with the educational community would be a good way to put that.
Yep.
And for community growing, having somebody to work with together and partner together with helps for faster growth. People who have our back, who are also committed.
Yeah.
And I guess I've got the best of both worlds because I work alone, but I have Doc to collaborate with and to work with the clients. We're more of a team, even though we're working solo with what we do. And the PT gal. So
I loved it. Well,
I was like, oh, I'm not quite totally, I'm solo, but I'm not solo.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. No wonder I love where I'm at.
Thanks for those bullet points. That was exactly in order. I hope you guys all got those in order. That was fantastic. Thank you for that. And so value offered, exactly my next question. Where are you guys noticing that you are partnering, and where are you noticing that you get to partner, given today's outline? Anybody want to share? Gary?
One of the locations I have is with a physical therapy office. And I originally started out with them doing massage work. But what I really like to do is integrative mind-body work. And I am really frustrated working at this office, and they're award-winning PTs, but they just don't get that there are other ways of healing outside of their own modalities. And I'm right there and I'm presenting it, and it's just not sinking in somehow.
Mhm.
So, and I've spoken to the director of this group, who is also a PT, and she said, yeah, you know I presented your stuff and it's just not sinking in. It's like, okay, the person comes in for their 10 sessions and they're gone, and maybe that's okay. And I've worked there for like a couple of years now. And it is really frustrating
Mhm.
because I know I have techniques and training that could help their clients. And
Mhm.
occasionally one will slough off, and then I'll be able to actually retrain and work with that person as a regular client. But
Mm.
it's just not happening with these people.
Mm.
And they're not presenting themselves as integrative, like your clinic. And I've had experience with integrative clinics that did not integrate, did not talk to each other. They were just there as individual practitioners, and that didn't work. So
Mm-mm.
that's where I am.
Yeah, well, gosh, I hear you, Mary, and thanks for sharing. And interesting how even before we had our conversation today, you recognized it doesn't work.
Yeah,
It doesn't work to not be in partnership with another provider, whether they do the same thing as you or something different. It just
right,
doesn't work.
right.
It feels, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I've been in those situations as well. It feels divisive. It feels like I'm unimportant or insignificant, that I have to prove myself somehow. It doesn't feel collaborative. It doesn't feel like we can grow together. It's the
Mhm.
absence of community where there is no fostered growth and expansion. It's just siloed and separate,
Right.
and then sort of like pining and begging for attention, which really the clients are the ones who lose out. I mean, we also lose out because we're human as well, but we can leave, if we want to. But we already talked about at the start of today that if I'm not your girl and I don't have the modality that I know you need, then I'm being greedy and not in service to prevent you from going there.
Right.
Right. So, and it would be the same in reverse if you thought that your modality was the one and you weren't allowing physical therapy to also be part of their care. It just doesn't work. So I'm sorry that that's your experience. And sometimes just getting clarity on it gives us the next best action steps for ourselves and our own growth. But it's a perfect example of why I think it's so important. Those
Yeah.
experiences you're having, just, they don't,
Right.
they don't vibe with our intention as providers, for sure.
Mhm.
Awesome. Anybody else recognizing something in your bullet points and what's working for you and maybe any adjustments you need to make? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm so used to doing it all myself. Yeah, I'll do it all myself. And how lovely it is when I don't don't have to do it all. I've never had to do it. Oh, I blocked.
No.
I've chosen. Let me put it that way. I've chosen to do it all myself. And I've been expanding that old belief for a while now. And I'm like, oh, this is so lovely. This is really lovely not to have to carry choices again, the whole load, but it's really nice to collaborate.
What was the switch for you, Lori? Why did you think it was one way and then chose and switched to being practice a different?
Probably I wanted to control everything. I'm like, oh, if I like this,
Mm,
this false belief of I can control everything. And then this also belief that like it's an interesting belief of like I can control everything and then I'm not worthy to have partners. Like what the heck? Yeah, it was a little head trippy. Yeah.
Little
Well,
dichotomy.
Mhm. Yeah, and awareness is more than 50% of the solution. So as long as we see ourselves playing our own mind games with ourselves, we can get out of them and make other choices. But the real highlight is that when you saw it and then you made the switch, you now enjoy what you do more. And so
Agreed.
that's also part of our responsibility to find the balance in our partnerships and in our expertise and in our authority and in our collaborations. We get to find that sweet spot so that we can lead every day with a full cup, so that when the boat comes up to the dock, we're actually invigorated enough in the morning to go again and get on the boat and go. One of the reasons why we pull the covers over our heads in the morning is because of how we treated ourselves the day before. And if you treat yourself in a way that's unworthy and siloed and overworked and underpaid and underappreciated and beating your fists at a wall where someone's not listening, if that's how you're spending your energy, then you won't want to get up tomorrow and do it again. Who would, right? So part of our responsibility as excellent providers is to partner with ourselves on our own needs too, right? And that's what comes first, and our own accomplishments and our own skill set and our own zone of genius, and operate from there. Know when it's not yours, and know that you get to be in partnership all the time with people in your community. Even if your community is online, that still counts. I have developed, one of the beauties of the last couple of years was I have developed such incredible closeness with people that aren't even in my neighborhood. And that wasn't available to us before. So it's one of the tiny silver linings that came out of the way the world shifted a few years ago. You can be really close to people who are on the other side of the world. And that's a good thing too. That counts. As long as there's connection there, that counts as community and expansion. Okay, my loves. Well, I hope that this continues to bloom and blossom information for you for your own best practices, so you can keep your cup full and be enthusiastic about the work that you do and know what's next for you and stay in the game and keep going. I'm delighted to have spent another hour with you. I hope that all of you will make time in your schedule to come to at least part of the summit, because it is such a fun event. We do only do it once a year. So mark your calendars for that.
What is that
What's the
again?
access? What's the access to that? I mean, what are we looking for? And
Lori,
so that we can sign up.
Yeah, the link is in the chat.
would you
Yeah.
send it one more time, Lori, in case they came
Yeah,
in
I'll send it
afterwards?
again.
So it'll be,
So Gary, I ended up joining Gina and
There it is.
TSM Mastery Program because of her summit last year.
Same.
Just so much truth, just so much goodness.
Great.
And I thought, man, if she can put all that together, probably really good.
I'm gonna camp out in her driveway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was after the summit that I came, that's how I got to know. So
Great.
I hope you join us. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I just wanted, if I can just add one last thing, a WhatsApp just came in, and we talk about partnering with our clients, right? Like really partnering with our clients and the value that we bring to them that sometimes we're not even aware of. And the WhatsApp just came in from the client that I had this morning, and I'm just going to read it, not for accolades for me, but just so that we get to have it really sink in what the difference we make to clients. And he wrote, "Hi, Anna. Thanks so much for your care today. I'm so lucky to have you help me. Thank you, thank you, thank you."
Good for you.
So,
Good for him. Good for him.
that's the difference we get to make when we partner, with the client and with the body. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Good.
And
Thank
off
you.
you go to do more amazing work in the world, my beloveds, because there's people who desire and deserve you. So thank you for spending time here, and they're lucky to have you. This concludes my service to you today, but I look forward to seeing you guys next week for more.